I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Tammy Tuckey. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am feeling great and excited and energized to be on your show. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Please do tell us, which part of the world are you in right now?
I'm on the East Coast. I represent Philly. Of course, Rocky, Rocky running up the...
I love how you said that. I rep Philly.
The cheesesteaks and the pretzels, everything.
Love it. Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us meeting.
I think mainly podcasting. I've been podcasting with my show called the Tiara Talk Show for over 7 years now, and I really enjoy it. It's a Disney-themed podcast.
Yeah, congratulations. So wow. Well done. So who did you learn the skill, let's say the gift of the gab from?
Probably from my parents. They're very much entertainers themselves, even though they don't like being on stage. So I kind of learned that. I have like an old soul, as they say. A lot of people tell me, and I just thought, it would be cool to start a podcast and just talk to two of my friends. One was in Canada and one was in New York, and we were in different parts of the country and of North America, and we just thought, well, let's start a podcast. So we were just talking, and I kind of got the encouragement to go out and gab with other entertainers and other people, like what you do with your interviews. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing it.
It is, and you mix the fun with the profession, right? Well, the podcast I listened to, the episode I listened to, was where you were interviewing Bruce Broughton, was his name, I think.
Yes.
And you were just mixing up. I love how you ended it, where you're asking, how did you say it? Peter Pan, or it was Peter Pan.
Yeah, it was the pixie dust lightning round, and I do that with my guests who have already been on the show. It's a lot of fun because it's like a this or that game. But yeah, my premise for my show is basically, I think there are so many talented people who've worked for the Walt Disney Company, and not a lot of them get to tell their stories. You know what I mean? So that's what my premise of the show is to talk about the creative talent that goes into a theme park attraction or a film or a song. It's just to learn that background and have it out there online for future generations to be able to listen to.
Yeah, and I definitely commend you for doing that, because Disney does affect so many lives, and to understand those that are creating that possibility, wow, it's really great that you're bringing that, not just for those that may be partakers of Disney World, but even the creators, right? It's good to hear them. I'm sure they're very happy to share the story, right?
Oh, they're thrilled. I think they feel that they never would have gotten the chance to do it otherwise, and I think some of them are shocked. I even asked them, they're like, me? And I'm like, of course you worked on Who Framed Roger Rabbit or The Little Mermaid or Aladdin. Your talent is just unbelievable. So it's great, because sometimes you find them in those like small missing Disney documentaries online that like a lot of people don't see. It's just great to see them in doing the animation, and then I find out their names and their talents and what they've done, and then I go ahead and I look online for them and I find them, and boom, there we go. We got our interview together.
I love it. Well, hey, you've been doing this for 7 years, and like Rocky, you could throw in the towel, right? Why will you continue to repeat this skill nevertheless?
I have climbed the art museum stairs. It's a haul, I'll tell you. When you come, you'll be like worn out by the time. But yeah, I keep climbing those podcasting stairs, and now I'm climbing the songwriting the stairs, or just making an album type of stairs, because I'm making my own Disney themed cover album at the moment. Sweet. So, more information, if anybody wants to check it out, it's gofundme.com Tammy Tuckey. And I also have my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/singer Tammy Tuckey. And, I always post all that stuff there, but I love singing and I love performing. And my cover of Jessica Rabbit's Why Don't You Do Right is about to hit 2 million hits.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Within 6 months, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Wow. So it's really fascinating. Zig Ziglar teaches, hey, help enough other people get what they want and you will get what you want. And you're a living example of that, right?
I kept pushing. I guess I was 13 years old when I started the podcast. I'm 21 now, and I've interviewed over 200 individuals, and they're all so talented, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to do this. It's not even, a full-time gig. It's just something I do in my free time, and I love to do it. I would only assume you get to do the same thing. It's just great with your podcast too. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to return the appreciation to what you do by having this conversation with you. I am very glad for that. Please do tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Well, I've always been a performer. I perform on the stage. I love being a different character for quite some time, for at least 2 hours. It's great to be in a different mindset sometimes and kind of ignore what's going outside in the world. So I have done that consistently for 3 years, done different types of shows, open mic nights. I always love to perform and work on a piece. I always like to deconstruct it and work it as best I can because I want to make sure it's perfect. So I've been doing that as often as I can. And I love going to see other shows too. That's what I do also consistently is go to other Broadway shows or shows in the area and support the arts because that's very important. Very, very important because, gosh, we have so many darn talented people in this world, and a lot of them are in the theater and entertainment industry. So, I always love supporting them.
So how does it make you feel, Tammy, when let's talk about when you're doing the deconstruction of the shows, as you said. How does that make you feel?
I really feel like I'm putting a lot of energy and support into material that's not even my own. It's somebody else's baby from maybe 50 years ago or maybe just 10 years ago. And I put my own spin to it. Although I'm using, of course, their lyrics, their the actual script. But it's great because every show is different because a different person brings something to the cast. You know what I mean? So I love working with the cast and the crew, of course, because without the crew, gosh forbid something happens. You know what I mean? As a prop, they're always there for you to help and support you. And there's so many things that come together to make a show happen. It's hair, makeup, it's costuming, it's the sets, it's the props, it's the people, it's the lighting, it's the sound, it's the orchestra. And all of that coming together is really a miracle in of itself. And when it is successful, that's like that huge thrill that just runs right through me.
I love it. Amazing audience, we are live with Tammy Tuckey. She is the podcast host of the Tiara Talk Show. Do check that out, Tammy. Let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Tammy, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably being downstairs in the basement. My dad had this huge movie theater room, and he would run 16 millimeter footage, films for us, but mostly like Goofy cartoons and Three Stooges and Looney Tunes. So I remember watching these really old cartoons that could not have been seen anywhere else because at the time, I know you and I both understand there were laser discs and VHS tapes, and I was watching this on film, real film, like, when you would go to a movie theater, they would run it on a reel. And I kind of, that's one of the key memories I remember is my, always asking my dad, come on, let's watch a movie downstairs in the basement. And he'd always surprise me with something different.
How old do you think you were?
I was 2, 3, I think. Like it really sticks out in my memory. There was one cartoon called, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was called, but it was I think it was Goofy about health. And Goofy was getting very fat because he was eating unhealthy. And I always thought that was funny. And then by the end, I think he starts exercising and he loses all that weight. And the Three Stooges one would probably be the one where they're in the kitchen and the people in the restaurant room hear them chopping food and they hear like a cat scream and a dog bark and they think it's the act that they're chopping up the cat or dog. And just their expressions are hilarious. It's just one of those episodes. It's great. And the pie fights too. That's another memory that comes to mind. I've always wanted to be in one.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think because it's supported by a lot of love, because my parents have always supported me in everything I do, and I've always been enthralled with the things that they would share with me. It wasn't like they kept it to themselves. They wanted me to be involved. I would help my dad rewind the film. My mom and I, we would sit down watching Barbra Streisand concerts or concerts from the 90s, and we'd sing the songs to each other all the time. You know what I mean? Wherever we were. So I think that they were the ones that really pushed me to be the person I am today, which I hope they're proud of me. I know they are proud of me, and I'm so honored to be their child.
That's amazing. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure, please. I'd love to hear it.
I love the value of the archive, and not just having the archive, but cherishing the archive. And that is in action. So your father had the archive. However, he made sure to make the time to put both of you together to experience what that was. And then it became something even more. And to see that you are doing that now, you spoke about the deconstruction aspect, having that opportunity to present on a stage, to pull together the groups, the team, the crew. It's really fascinating how that connects. It
really is. I think it gives you a different appreciation for the work in town. I guess, that's where it really starts, because you watch something and you just don't understand how it came together like that until you're a little bit older. It's kind of crazy because this past weekend I went to a film festival with my dad and we watched 16 millimeter and there were Three Stooges. So it's like it comes full circle. We're still watching them, 21 years later, you know what I mean? 19 years later. So it's one of those things I really do cherish.
It is amazing. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I loved Ariel. I loved anything Little Mermaid. So it was probably because my mom says I would sing Part of Your World constantly. So I will say safely that must be it, because I always wanted to be in that Little Mermaid show at Walt Disney World, A Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and I still do.
Well, it all connects, right? You definitely are part of your world, right?
Yes, I try. I want to be part of Disney's world, and I kind of am.
There we go. Well, hey, Tammy, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Tammy, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I probably would. I have a lot of cousins and a lot of younger kids that I always like to inspire and tell them to keep singing. They always say, why do you sing? I say it's one of those joys. It brings other people joy and it brings yourself joy. Make sure you make sure that you are happy yourself as a person.
Are you married?
No, I am not. I am single.
Okay. Do you have children?
I do not have any children, but maybe in the future I'd like some.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in a spiritual aspect of this world. I believe that there is something, I have no idea what it is, but I do believe there's something going on. So possibly yes, no. It's like a maybe, sorry.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yeah, I have a great group of family friends, and we don't get to see each other all the time, but when we do, we have game nights, and that's where the party really happens, because we do and card games. So yeah, that's my inner circle right there. I love them all.
What about TV? Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Yes, I try to Netflix myself as much as I can. I just iTunes, and I love any of those documentaries that they have online. So I love any of that. It's fascinating to me to learn about somebody else's life.
Yeah, tell me about screen time. Do you spend more than 8 hours or less than 8 hours on the phone or on the computer?
I would say more, but not in the sense of I'm always looking at my phone when I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody. It's more of I'm editing. You know the feeling, and you have to just edit these episodes and make sure everybody sounds great. So that's usually my problem.
Yeah.
I'm always editing.
Well, Tammy, my friend, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook, and the name of it is Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement, your mission, if you would. If you had to share with us, Tammy, your own unique real statement, something that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
Well, it's one of my new favorite quotes now, which is from the film Treasure Planet from Walt Disney's 2002 film. And there's a line where John Silver says to Jim Hawkins, he says, you're going to do something great in this world. So I want you to rattle the stars. And that's what I love so much about that line. It's really shake this universe up, but in the best way possible and really support other people. So that's going to be my quote, rattle the stars.
Love it. Tammy Tuckey, hey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, first, I want to thank you so much for having me on the show. This is really an honor for me. And I'm always available online if anybody wants to chat or say hello. I have a website, www.tammytuckey.com, and my social media pages you'll be able to find there. And again, if you want to help out with my cover album project, it's gofundme.com/Tammy Tuckey. Any help would be much appreciated. There's a lot more information about that special Disney project. You're going to definitely want to check it out if you're a Disney fan. So thank you again for having me on the show. This has been such a complete pleasure. I hope we get to meet sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure. So again, the GoFundMe/Tammy Tuckey. Do check that out. Tammy, this was a great pleasure one more time. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.